Oh, say please do not go. And you know, oh, you know that I must. Oh, say I love you.
Following video is on how to drive a stick shift or manual car. Before we go any further, I want you to realize that if I say manual or stick shift, they mean the same exact thing. So if I'm inside of the car and I'm explaining it and saying stick or manual, just realize I'm talking about the same thing. Maybe you already know how to drive a manual car, but you need a little bit of clarification. Well, this video will help explain that. Maybe you are totally new in getting into the world of stick shifts or manuals, and you need some clarification on how to or where to even start. Well, this video is for you. Of course, or you can do what we all do and get into driving the faster manual or stick shift cars because, you know, you want to impress the babes. Well, then this video is for you. But enough talking about it, let's go for a spin. This is the main component of a 5-speed transmission. On the top, the gears are labeled first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and reverse. This is an American-made car, so this is usually how you find the gears are labeled. On an Audi or a Volkswagen, reverse would be on the left side, and if it was a 6-speed, it would be in the bottom right. You'll learn the differences, and hopefully they're labeled for you once you get used to driving these kind of cars. The way these gears look when they're actually in is top left is first, bottom left is second. You move it to the middle and push it straight up is third. Bring it right down is fourth, and right into the top right is fifth. And if you want to go into reverse, you have to slam it to the right and reverse. Notice that these gears are not extremely easy to move. You have to get used to it, and sometimes novice drivers either hit third or fifth on accident, but it's just something you've got to get used to. The first thing you'll notice when stepping into a stick shift vehicle is that there's 3 pedals instead of 2. The gas is on the far right, the brake is in the middle, and the clutch is on the far left. When the clutch is pressed down, it disengages the gears so that you're able to move the stick into the different gear selection. When you are done, you let go of the clutch and it grabs onto the gears. But you'll learn more about this later on in the video. This is probably the most important component in a 5-speed or 6-speed car. This is called your RPM gauge, or rather rotations per minute, and they are multiplied by 1,000 as clearly stated in the middle. What this measures is your engine speed. Towards the top right or the bottom right, you will see that there's an area that is yellow and red. The red area is called your red line, and the most approximate shifts should always be between 2,500 or 3,000, and we'll show you later on what will happen if you shift below that or above that. Now I'll show you how to start the car. As I said before, the clutch is the most important component, well, one of them rather, than when driving one of these cars. To even start a car that is a manual transmission, you have to have the clutch all the way depressed before attempting to start it. If you don't, the car won't even start. And it's just like that. To begin rolling or starting off in a 5-speed car, the most important, which I've said 1,000 times during this video, component or technique of driving these cars is the teeter-totter. Now everyone who first gets into this knows where the gears are and everything, but they don't realize that starting from a stop to actually going and rolling, it requires some skill. To have the clutch down and brake is when you stop, but from going to a stop to rolling, you have to put your foot on the gas and give it a little bit and pull off the clutch at the same time until you start rolling. If you don't, you can stall out, which we'll show you later on in this video. Now I'll show you how to drive one of these cars. Start off in first, make sure your emergency brake is all the way down. And to do the teeter-totter, it does take a lot of skill, and I'll show you, and then I'll show you how to change into different gears while you're doing it. So listen for the gas raising up, and notice how out the window we're not moving until you hear me start to let off the clutch. So here's the gas, and then when I start to let off the clutch. And this would be shifting into second. You have to depress the clutch and shift it into second before you can start moving again, as shown there. We're gonna go around a little corner here. And to go around turns at a very slow speed, you want to make sure you're in second. If you're in first, the car will probably have a lot of kick and you might slip your back tires. And if you're in third, the car could stall out, which wouldn't be very good because, you know, sometimes that pisses off drivers and a lot of other stuff. But I'm gonna get it up to third gear here so I can show you. And I'm gonna go ahead and put it into first, so if it gets very loud, I apologize, which it isn't. So to change gear, you depress, put it in second, let out the clutch, and hit the gas again, just like that. And to get it in the third is the very, very same way. You depress the clutch, put it in the middle for neutral is the easiest way, and then you'll throw it straight up for third. And fourth, same way, fourth, fifth. And to reverse, take the car to a complete stop. The clutch is still all the way depressed, my foot's on the brake. You move the stick right over and into reverse. To know if you're in neutral being in the stick, you can move the stick all the way to the right and all the way to the left. When your stick is in neutral, you do not have to hold down the clutch. So for instance, because it's in neutral right now, I can let go of the clutch and the car won't stop. But if I put it in gear and then took off the clutch, the car would cut off because it doesn't have enough power in the engine to be moving the tires because it doesn't connect. So to reverse, you push the clutch in, brake still down, move it all the way to the right and back to reverse. And you let go, and you do the same teeter-totter. Of course, I don't want to hit anything, so make sure to look behind you too. And that's basically getting through the gear. Remember our friendly RPM gauge. Next, we'll show you what happens when you let go of the clutch when the gas is too high or if the gas is too low. This is what happens when you do not give the car enough gas. You see, the car cut off. Self-explanatory. We briefly showed you what happens when you don't give the car enough gas. This is what happens when you give it too much gas. Explained earlier that stalling out can sometimes make traffic extremely angry, and it's when you don't give the car enough gas and it causes the engine to cut out. This is what happens when you stall and how it will affect traffic. We're at a red light right now and we're just waiting for a green, and there it is. So here we go. Oh, how unfortunate. And yeah, that's a girl in a business. Sorry, just can't, no, look at that. Yeah, they're not happy. They're not happy at all. Oh well, but that's what happens.
Oh, say please do not come, and you know